What are you 100% sure is true even though you can't prove it? Growing up we had a family of friends that did everything with our family. Camping, holidays, random get-togethers. Everything. I am dead certain that my father was having an affair with the wife and my mother was having an affair with the husband, and neither of them knew of the other's affair. For the longest time I knew there was affairs going on but thought it was more of a swinger or poly relationship kind of thing until I was an adult and my mother started talking about visiting the husband without his wife or my father knowing. And the more I probed, the more certain I became that neither of them knew the other was doing it. I have kept this to myself because they're all in their mid-60s or dead with 35+ years of marriage, and it just seems pointless to rock the boat, but I find it extremely amusing. One time my cat used her paw to gag herself and puke on the floor because I wasn't paying enough attention to her. The United States has wild underwater military assets. Sandwiches taste better when cut diagonally. Saying it's quiet in any job dealing with the public, you have just fucked up your day. King Saint Old Town, Alexandria VA, there are two, count M2, wig shops one building apart. They are outdated, shabby looking places whose windows are filled with the fakest looking wigs, mustaches, and tubes on mannequin heads. It's on the main street, in a very wealthy town. Other businesses come and go under the competitive pressure of the area and high leasing prices, but these shops stay open without a single customer. My mom lived there in the 80s and they were there, I live there now and still they stand unchanged. 100% a front for two competing mobsters. On either side of a vacant bar. Infamous Ron Swanson. Edit, y'all are bolstering my conspiracy theories, now I'm going to investigate the stores myself. If I die you know what happened. That Reddit is 90% bots and 9% raging idiots arguing against the bots. At least once, a human clone has been made and been allowed to develop all the way to a living, breathing person. Cell phone companies deliberately slow down your device once it is paid off, annoying you into buying a new one. That I am the handsomest man in the world. Right now I only have hearsay evidence from my mom and grandma, but I'm sure I'll get the hard indisputable evidence soon. When I first started my job a decade ago, the union and company were in the middle of contract negotiations. The company was bringing in a batch of new hires every month, like, nearly a dozen people each batch, with 3 to 4 of them coming to my specific department. They did this for nearly 6 months as negotiations kept stalling. Then, the company announced that they were struggling and had to lay people off in order to make it. They laid off half the people they had hired since I had been hired on and shifted the other half to lower desirable positions with worse pay, then a month later had a second wave of layoffs where they got rid of all those they'd shifted around. We accepted their contract not long after that. I 100% believe that they hired all these people with the express purpose of laying them off in order to try to scare the union into voting yes on a shitty contract. There's no way they hired a dozen people every month for half a year and just didn't realize they had too many people. Not that many for that long. They hired a bunch of people they knew they didn't actually need, so they had that buffer to let people go without actually affecting productivity. Most makeup companies are utilizing the same size container of product but filling them at least 25% less of said product, while increasing prices unnecessarily. Like, I have to put a few eye drops into my mascara to get whatever is left, and I'll honestly don't use it more than 2 to 3 days a week. I never had to do this pre-pandemic. TikTok and all the copycats, Reels, YT shorts, etc., regardless of content, are having a deleterious effect on the attention spans of daily users, which are mostly young people. That my father actually died of COVID and not heart failure. Like he got really sick. He had an infection that the hospital didn't know what it was or how to treat it. He ended up on a ventilator and life support. He passed, and then 3 weeks later, they shut the state down due to COVID. Not to mention, the hospital held onto his body a few extra days, and we never got a reason why. It's all circumstantial. But it makes sense. Testing wasn't available at the time. The symptoms matched, and it all happened at the perfect time. However, we had him cremated, so we'll never know. Not that it would ease the grief, but it's a thought that lingers in my mind. Aliens exist. The universe is so fucking big they simply can't not exist. Country songs about how hard life is when competing in rodeo were created by rodeo riders who wanted to reduce competition. I think that the dreams people have of flying are memories from being carried in our infancy. That the US is headed towards a gigantic crisis. Like half the country is going to go broke at this rate, with the new high cost of living. We're going to have millions and millions of people with no health insurance and no money and nowhere to live. It's going to be insane. That 90% of the conspiracy theories / anti-vax / crazy political posts you see online, particularly ones calling for violence, are being circulated by foreign actors to purposefully sow discord and destabilize Western democracies. Someone stealing my shit out of the washer or dryer. Clothes have started to go missing. But only new trendy clothes. Straight face. The government took part in MLK's murder. The Fruit of the Looms logo. It had to have a cornucopia. That politicians don't fix things in the US because it depends on a poor class to join the military. I just don't see how our country could survive in this world if everyone had too much to lose to join. I am having an internal experience. Big box stores have been systematically making the shopping experience worse to discourage in-store shopping and push people to their online stores. They're trying to get out of the brick-and-mortar business because of the high overhead cost, but they know that simply shutting stores down will be hugely unpopular. By understaffing so that shelves don't get stocked and locking product behind glass, they can blame employees and theft for store closures without losing too many customers to other online retailers. Aliens alien. TikTok, xylazine, and fentanyl are 100% major proxy wars by China to destroy us from the inside, and it's working. A lot of evil figures are heroized and a lot of heroic figures are demonized in our history. My older kid ate my hidden cookies. Epstein didn't kill himself. Not every man thinks about the Roman Empire. That all religious books were written and rewritten by regular men for control. This place is a multiverse, and when you die, you just go somewhere where you're still alive. There is no afterlife. You just keep going. Each McNugget shape has a different flavor. That orcas are a bigger threat than we think. Little green men version of aliens are not visitors from another planet, but are tourists from the future. Humans are evolving to have bigger brains, less hair, and this timeline is just their tourist destination. The war on drugs is the most destructive policy that the US government ever came up with, and it was done for purely corrupt and racist reasons. Mattress stores are a money laundering scheme. I mean, how many people do you know are buying mattresses? NBA officiating is corrupt. Elon Musk is planning to run for president even though he's ineligible.